They said your mouth is the wrong shape for the trumpet. So we think the trombone might be a better fit.
What?
That's what I was
Is that
like,
a thing?
no.
A lot of this extracurricular stuff is really good for the UK economy. Like things like art
Explain.
and sports and like they're things that we're good at, and yet
Yeah,
like,
true.
maybe not enough funding's going towards that.
It's not just the class. It's the equipment, it's the instruments. It does price out some families.
And it's societal pressure, because if everyone's doing it, then
Yeah.
you feel like you have to. I taught some children that would finish their after-school clubs at, I'm not even kidding, right, 12 o'clock, and they'd have to,
As in,
midnight.
well, midnight.
Midnight.
How do we make sure that every child gets a club that they love?
The Education Lounge Podcast.
Let me know what you think of this sentence, okay? So, a football club or a coding club after 4 p.m, after school, could be worth the same, if not more, than someone's 2 p.m. maths lesson. Agree, disagree, thoughts?
That's what you mean by worth. It's the difficult thing to gauge, right? So, in what way?
More beneficial? Or as beneficial?
In what way? Well, it depends how you define benefit. Because obviously, in terms of maths, probably the maths class would improve your But when you're talking maybe benefit in terms of its social.
Well, there's social, there's brain development, there's enjoyment, it could play into other parts of your life. There's several different things.
But depends how much. I think I preferred my math class to my music session.
Okay, I mean that's
But
you all over. That's your.
But you got to understand, like, obviously, as someone who grew up, I had like a Chinese mum and then dad who was Greek and English. The sort of Chinese mentality when it comes to music is very, very much like you need to.
Yeah. Why is that?
I don't really know what the roots of it are. It could be that they didn't have that chance to do that when they were young, and thus they see that as an opportunity.
But why? Like, there's a reason. So I think I might have misquoted. Let me just answer your previous question. The quote was, "It may be worth as much for a child's future as their 2 p.m. maths class."
Okay, all right. Again, yeah, it would depend on your child's view of maths. It would depend on or the activity in question. It would depend on whether that extracurricular activity they were enjoying it in the first place.
So I mean, you could insert any normal school class in place of maths and any extracurricular. That's why I said football or coding or.
Yeah. But then to certain, like, if I were to say, okay, well, if you're an Mbappe, then probably the football after school would have resulted in the ultimate net benefit. But then if you were talking about, I don't know, some mathematician somewhere, then it would be the maths class.
But it's what you're exposed to, isn't it? And there's also crossover. Like, the mathematician doing some exercise, it's probably still good for him.
Yeah, and also if you think about Einstein, I think played the violin, I believe. I think that's.
I don't know. I don't know exactly.
I'm not saying that like the violin might not have contributed to much of his success as a.
I don't know. I think you'd be surprised. Not that we can have exact data on this stuff, but
yeah,
we can go into how we met. How did we meet?
Well, we met in school, but obviously I think in terms of I'd say like striking up a friendship, I'd say it was pretty much down to the fact that we did orchestra together.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Um,
Well, that, and with doing orchestra, we ended up finishing late, like 7 o'clock at night, and then we both lived in the same direction.
Yeah.
So we ended up walking home.
or
Passing swings.
Yes. Oh yeah,
between when the second violins had a little break in the piece, just passing like duets back and
that was basically our ultimate skill. Like I'd say it's more skill in that than the violining at times.
Probably.
Yeah.
So there's a whole social
Element to
it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'd say that was. I mean, there was definitely that with classes too. So, when you're in a class, you're obviously socially interacting, but it gives you a chance to interact in a bit of a different way, and also it gets you.
My social interactions with you in class got me kicked out of the set. If you remember that story.
Well, tell the story.
We were in set 2, or was it? I started in set 1. We went to set 2, met John in set 2, and there was a class where, I don't know, I was trying to do some whatever, factorizing, expanding, maths, whatever it was, and John kept talking to me about other stuff, which still happens to this day, actually. I got fed up and said, like, I think I said shut up or stop talking or something, and that got me in trouble for talking. And I got kicked out of the class and kicked into set 3 with all the hooligans.
Yeah. But it wasn't my fault. I think the punishment didn't fit the crime. I think that was the main.
Yeah, but also the wrong person got punished.
True. But
So
you went into set 3, and then I eventually went into set 1.
So yeah, we were completely inverted.
Yeah, because I started in set 3 and then I moved up.
I started in set 1.
I moved.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just one of those things, I guess.
Yeah. So we've had different social interactions across both classes and extracurricular. Do you think the extracurricular stuff has a net benefit?
I think I took it to extremes, and that made it overall not the best. I think I overworked, and I think it still affects me now because I can't switch off. I've got to be doing something all the time. I think it is a result. I don't think this happened. This was not what I was like as a child. It kind of developed, especially at Forest. So
yeah. Well, you just touched on a couple of points I was going to go into. So mainly some stats, which basically back up what you said so far and more. So I can go into that if you like.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just explain that. So extracurricular is any activity taught outside of your timetable at school, for those who don't know what that means. So it could be sports, it could be performing, visual arts, music, STEM or debate clubs, volunteering, leadership programs, outdoor things, scouts, tuition.
Yeah, I'd classify that as
it's extracurricular.
Yeah.
But in line with curriculum, but extra.
What's your
So, yeah.
What first of all, like, what ones have you done? Because my list is ridiculous.
Do you mean throughout my entire time at school?
Yeah.
So if there was like a play the whole class was in, does that count? Or is that?
I'd say the ones that you did regularly every year.
Music was the biggest one.
Yeah. And then that was like 2 nights a week.
2 to 3, yeah.
Because you had, I know that you did the brass
trombone
ensemble.
No, I was in big band, so
yeah, that one.
We traveled to different places in Europe, performing bands. Symphony orchestra with 2 instruments, not at the same time. Music. Some sports. I played basketball for school. I played a couple hockey games for school. Performing visual arts, not so much.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in a few plays here and there in primary school, but I think I don't really want to count those because it wasn't like I went and said, I want to do drama. It was
Yeah.
the whole school had to learn lines and
I-
whole class, sorry.
You did them mainly in school, but I also did some outside school too. So
I did badminton outside school as well.
as a club.
Yeah, I went every Saturday. I didn't play, competitively or whatever, but yeah, I did badminton. I did some tap as a child, like very young.
Nice.
What else did I do?
I did some ballet.
I did tuition
Uh,
a little bit. Come on, I did that a lot. Swimming, lots actually. Yeah, thinking about now that I'm saying the list out loud. Yeah,
Yeah,
Fair.
I'd say I did a lot of things outside of this, like including chess and other stuff. But then I'd say my regular timetable was like football Monday after school. Then Tuesday I did, I think, a choir, chapel choir or something like
Oh, actually, I was in choir for a bit as well.
that.
Yeah.
They had ridiculous number, like at Forest, because this is a private school. They had a ridiculous number of choirs, orchestras, things like that.
Yeah, again, this comes onto the stats I was going to talk
Yeah.
about.
Wednesday, I think I ended up doing
Wednesday sports, isn't it?
Wednesday I either did athletics or it was like they did extra football training after school that I did. And then Thursday was orchestra day, which
Yep.
like where we met. Friday was my day off. This is good.
Same now.
Saturday we'd actually play some sports. So for instance, I did, because I was in the football teams, I did football matches on Saturday, and then I do a football match with my club team on Sunday. So I found that a lot.
Yeah, I don't remember my timetable to that level. Thursday was orchestra. I think Tuesday was band. Wednesday was band. We used to go around all the different schools and do performances and give talks about the different instruments. We did a trip to Italy to perform. We did a trip to Germany to perform. So we performed around Europe a little bit.
Yeah.
Performed at the Royal Albert Hall. Got paid £10 for that gig. My first professional music gig, and only probably.
Wow.
Yeah, every band member got £10 each. We were so I've performed on the Royal Albert Hall stage. Those were usually Wednesday things. Thursday orchestra. Friday, don't remember.
I think Friday
I used to come home and watch Robot Wars.
sorry, Friday. Yeah,
That was my Friday.
but Friday was the rest day, definitely. Which is kind of,
Yeah,
it was a nice day. It was a good day, because it was just like, I don't need to worry too much about homework immediately. I don't need to worry about anything after school.
yeah.
I can rest up for Saturday, so like the sport.
Saturday, I would be, depending on what age I was, I'd be doing some swimming, or a bit earlier on, I would be doing some badminton in the afternoon,
Yeah.
and then, or maybe Sunday morning was swimming.
So pretty busy.
Okay, so I think most of these stats are taken from the Education Policy Institute or government website. So in terms of academic and career, kids who join clubs tend to do better. 59% versus 50%. So sports club pupils had 42% higher odds of being in education or work at the age of 21.
Okay.
It's a 9% jump.
So so people who basically saying you stand a better chance of not being the word is the NEET, so not in education, was it training and employment?
So that's the 50%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a 9% jump for those who did specifically sports club.
Mm.
And if you're going to creative and academic clubs boost university entry. So arts, hobby clubs, they showed a 56% higher odd of entering higher education.
Yeah.
So 61% versus 50%.
I remember doing UCAS, and then submitting, saying, okay, I did this and this to this grade and did this, and
Yeah.
then you get extra points.
Yeah.
But I think in the US it's even more.
We'll I think I've got some stuff on that as well. Physical and mental health. Active children are happier. I mean, we spoke before about endorphins and serotonin and all the stuff that gets released when you do exercise. Active children are happier and more resilient and trust others more.
It's team sports, isn't it? So
yeah, of course, yeah.
trust.
So Sport England survey links being active with higher well-being scores. 57% of kids hit 30 minutes a day outside school.
Yeah.
And then you've got teamwork, like you said, their soft skills and confidence, time management, leadership, which is apparently a lot of things that employers list as missing.
Yeah.
In school leavers. So those soft skills really come into play there. So 61 to higher education, 55% still playing sports regularly. So thoughts on that? Expected? I kind of thought it'd be a bit higher actually.
I also, I don't doubt the fact that something like, participating in a club where collaboration is required, is probably very good for your soft skills. Is quite likely to be, because it's experience of some kind, and experiences in that domain would improve your ability to. And also I've noticed that people who are very good at, say they're team captain of a sport, those skills tend to translate to other things, so other projects. And
whereas leadership, teamwork,
because leadership doesn't really change that much from sphere to sphere.
I would say I've learned my leadership skills after school, after university. Well, running businesses.
I'd probably say so too, because I don't think I was much of a leader at school.
No, neither of us were leaders. Neither of us were captains. Neither of us were first violin. Neither of us led orchestra sports.
I did.
We were
lead
part of a team, but
eventually I did lead the second violins, but that didn't translate to that much. As in, that's not really being a leader. I think is being team captain of some sport or something. I was never good enough anyway.
No, neither was I.
I learned how to play football basically by my experiences in Forest. So I wasn't really playing before then. And I think if I had played before, I didn't really get involved that much in sport until private school. I wasn't really, apart from squash. Which I only got involved in by accident, because my childminder her children played squash. So I naturally went with them, and then I discovered I'm pretty good at this.
Oh yeah.
And that's basically where all my hand-eye coordination came from, because I didn't play any other sport.
I think your hand-eye coordination only exists in a sports situation.
Probably, yeah.
Talking about that, I did actually play tennis as well.
Yeah.
Saturday mornings were tennis.
I played a little bit, but not as much as squash. I played squash.
Let's look at how many people actually took part. So overall in the UK, roughly 3 in 4 state school pupils do something each week. 3 in 4, 75%. Independent schools, 9 in 10.
Yeah.
So 90% of independent school pupils do some sort of extracurricular each week, and only 75% of state schools.
That's also down to selection, though, isn't it? Because when they're interviewing, they are selecting people who don't just...
They're already doing it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They already have those interests.
So, and my mum was really keen to get me doing something, doing other things. She did, I did orchestra and stuff like that. I did that before in primary school, but it was, I saw, she saw it as an opportunity to do more. But I kind of went overboard. I did too many things.
Yeah. Sports. 91% of independent school pupils play sports versus 67 in local authority schools who join a sports team or a club.
Hmm.
91 versus 67. And then in terms of gender, this is a US comparison. So its 2020 census shows that 44% of boys and 35% of girls were on a sports team, but the gap reverses for lessons. It's 37% girls, 27% boys.
Yeah, I'd say it's not surprising.
Yeah,
Boys a lot of the time. All kids need activity, but especially boys.
yeah. We got to not get rid of, but like channel all of that team aggression and whatever into something constructive.
Exactly.
And then there are obviously regional gaps. We spoke about the difference between the state schools and the independent schools, but there's a lot more going on in the southeast, apparently.
Yeah, money, isn't it?
Yeah. So the active rate is 54% in high affluence families versus 42% in low affluence families, and there's a regional gap due to a regional and income gap across England, and most of the more of these activities take place in the southeast.
Yeah, it makes a lot. Like basically everything there makes total sense.
Yeah.
The only thing, well, if you think about how much money these activities cost outside of school, like picking up an instrument is not cheap.
No.
Like a violin, I know that's a particularly expensive.
Violin is one of the cheaper ones, yeah. A few £100 for a good one.
Probably cheap. To be fair,
Triangle probably cheaper.
True, but you can only have one. You only have one of them. An orchestra. There's like a recorder club. You can actually, you can have like multiple people doing it, and choirs. That's why choirs are so popular.
Well, the instrument's free.
Yeah, essentially. Although the training for it isn't.
No.
Now
I remember we had to drive across the country to go pick up a trombone. We had to buy one because I used the one at school. In year 4 in Forest, I don't know if they still do this, they gave us a free year of learning an instrument. And I'm, looking back now, it's like it was a way to get people to pay money to take those classes.
Yeah. But I mean, it was also because the school itself was known for music. It was that was its selling point, or at least a very strong one.
Yeah.
So we had a very good music department.
Yeah. So that in year 4 they gave us the instrument, and then we had to drive across, I don't know, to Yorkshire or whatever to pick up this trombone. And even back then it was a few £100.
Was there anything that you wish that you did of these clubs, but you didn't really get involved with?
I always have these sorts of regrets. I mean, firstly with the instruments, I chose the violin because I've told this story in the podcast before, but I chose the violin because I saw one of the kids in our class in year 2 play the violin for us, and I'd never seen anything like it before. I was like, I want to do that. And then that's the short version. And then when they did the 3 year 4 sessions, I thought, well, I already play a string instrument, so I do like a brass or a wind instrument. So I played the trumpet for a year. And then I think Forest School lied to me and they said, your mouth is the wrong shape for the trumpet. So we think the trombone might be a better fit.
What?
That's what I was like.
A thing?
No. I thought it was. I was 8.
Okay, yeah. No, but
and I wanted to play the trumpet. The real reason I found out later on is that they had no trombone players for their bands.
Okay. Smart.
I was 8. I was like, okay, I'll do that then. And then I ended up doing that. That's the reason I did that instrument. But what I would have preferred to do is saxophone
or drums.
Drums. How do you know this stuff? Have I said this before?
No, I just feel.
You just know me.
Yeah, that's not.
Drums, man. I would have 100% done the drums.
Yeah, it's because you're always drumming stuff on things.
I do without realizing, honestly. But there's some untapped stuff there that I wish.
Yeah.
I could have.
Then my main regret is probably in terms of music, is probably not reaching the level that I know I could have at the piano. Because I'm really good at piano. But
Yeah,
it was-
piano would have been the other one. If I was to, because I've not done it for quite a few years, but music production is something I did a lot of. I did music tech at school, and just in my own time. Even the theme tune for this podcast is made by me.
Yeah.
So for music production, being able to play the piano, and drums, like
Yeah.
goldmine.
Yeah.
When you're producing on the computer, or whatever, you can change the different instruments, but obviously you don't have the actual.
So you can just play it,
Yeah. So if I knew the piano better,
Yeah.
and drums, I would have, got into music production a lot more.
My two that I probably regret not getting more into is chess.
We had a chess club, didn't we?
Yeah, I did play, but I wish I got more into it. But I think I just didn't have time. And probably
Was it your like athletic stuff, or
no, it wasn't that. Because I think I got plenty into that. It was
I didn't like running. Running was not my thing.
what did we do? What did we have? We had
Well, was it a sport or was it
I had it in my mind, like, and then it slipped away. It'll come back. Anyway, drama. That was it. Because I think I would have been really into, like, I like that
okay?
sort of stuff, but I sort of think it was mainly a confidence thing. It wasn't to do with not being good at it. I think I would have been good at it if I'd taken the time. And I think I could have learned. I can learn stuff if I try and learn a part. I know I can remember it and internalize.
Yeah.
Because I did it at uni.
I did it in primary school. I remember learning loads of lines, but I think I probably ended up becoming more self-conscious when I grew up.
Yeah.
And yeah. So that's probably what I would have done. So we've spoken a bit about the benefits, the statistics and percentages, and the outcomes. There are a few negatives.
Yeah.
The main one being is that there's slightly higher self-reported health issues among heavy arts club participants.
What
Slightly higher self-reported. But do you think that's because with things like art, you are self-reflecting a lot? Is that a link there? I mean, it is just
too much critical thinking. Yeah.
It's only like statistically significant. It's not,
Depends what this. I mean, I think it's
I don't have
hard to. With that sort of, it depends. You need a really, really. You need loads of thick descriptions of why people have those issues and why they're linked.
Yeah, no, I don't have that level of data on it.
I don't think it exists. I don't think that level of data really exists because.
Well, it's self-reported.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, self-reports. It can still be. Pretty critical, but maybe that's just a case of correlation. So again, those sorts of people who go into those things are a bit more.
Yeah. No, I'm just thinking like arts. I'm thinking more like drama students are quite dramatic, and
Yeah.
it could be to do. Yeah, I mean, there. That was just one thing. So the other ones, we've spoken about some of these already. The obvious one is money.
Yeah, I think money's the big one.
Because it's not just the class. It's the equipment. It's the instruments. It's the paying for dropping off and picking up. Because if you're at work, you've got to pay someone to do that. Maybe it's the buying of the kits, the shoes, all of that sort of stuff.
Trips.
Which does, trips, like paying for me to go on those band trips or whatever. They're not free.
No.
So, yeah, it does price out some families.
There's also, I mean, obviously a lot of, talking about the state sector, there's funding for these activities, but it's not maybe as much as is needed, and it's only like in the state sector it can't compete with what people in the private sector are doing.
Yeah, and it's also not just state versus private, it's also different countries, which I'm going to come onto in the next segment. But other countries do have initiatives to help with this sort of thing.
I've heard that specifically with South Korean parents, one of the reasons why some of them just don't want to have kids is because of the amount of pressure on them to send them to they're called Hogwons, so they're after school clubs. And when I was teaching in Korea, that was a real problem, because I saw I taught some children that would finish their after school clubs at, I'm not even kidding, like 12 o'clock, and they'd have to
As in,
midnight.
well, midnight.
And they'd do sometimes like 5 or 6 clubs after school, and they'd also have to get up early at, like, say, to be in school at like 7 something, like to be in school at like 7, and then do their homework for the school day, like from the previous school day.
I don't have too much.
Yeah.
Way too much.
I can see that being a huge amount of pressure on the child, but also on the parent, because they've got to pay for all of these extra things.
Well, and they've got to make sure they get it done as well.
And it's societal pressure, because if everyone's doing it, then
yeah,
you feel like you have to. So taken to extremes, it's a problem.
Well, overscheduling.
Yeah.
Middle class trend is to stack too many activities on top of each other. So I don't think even middle class here doesn't go to that level, but it's a lot still. It's a lot.
I remember there was this time when I was at a chapel choir event.
Yeah.
And I just remember, like, I was not able to enjoy myself. I was quite young at the time. So I was like 13, 14, maybe even younger. Somehow in the chapel choir, I was the only person really in that choir at that age. Everyone else was older. And I just remember being in the sort of churchyard garden, and we were having canapes and stuff like that. It was like really fun. You think I was enjoying that, yeah? But I was I was surrounded by these older kids and stuff like that. I wasn't really like with my friends. I was, in that group, and I was just sitting around, and then I just pretended to be ill so I could just leave. And the only thing I had on my mind was the fact that it was like 8:30 or something like that, and I had homework to do for the next day. And that's all I was thinking about. I couldn't enjoy myself at all. And that was after an event, and you've got your social stuff after. And
that is a concern though, because I had several times where I was the youngest. I mean, there were several times where I was the only primary school kid.
Yeah.
In these events.
Yeah.
And there were a few times where the older ones sort of made fun and like picked on me a little bit.
Yeah.
But some of it was I was staying back in school because there was no one to pick me up.
Yeah.
My mum was working in the city and dad was working, and there wasn't anyone that could pick me up from school. So I'd be there like 8:30 at night.
Yeah.
In a random room in the secondary school, which I didn't know.
Yeah.
Surrounded by people twice my height.
Yeah.
And just been like, no, it's dark outside.
Yeah.
Just waiting for someone to actually. And I was often the last one picked up.
Yeah.
Because my mum couldn't get there in time.
Yeah.
Like it would be 8, 9 o'clock, and I'd be standing there at the front gates, just be like, waiting for. It got to the point where I knew the headlights of the car, so I knew that I was getting picked up.
Yeah.
And then even in things like band, because I started the instruments quite young, I went into the band and stuff earlier than most people. So even in big band and stuff, I was like the youngest kid there. Again, surrounded by people that were
older,
5 years older than me.
Yeah.
It is kind of terrifying at that age.
But if you're That was at primary school, right?
Primary and secondary.
I
Yeah.
think at secondary it was more bearable because they were actually really everyone was really nice to me, but it was just that sort of I'm basically surrounded by what seems like adults essentially, and
Yeah.
I am the only child here. I'm just thinking about homework. Like that's it. I just remember that being stressful, and I actually didn't persist with chapel choir just because of the pressure. There's like too much of that sort of thing.
Yeah, I actually quit the band.
Yeah.
They the music teacher at the time, the head of music at that time. I think he's still there now. I think he's head of primary. Anyway, he ended up hating me. So I was like the only trombone player left. I was like, I can't do this anymore. It's too stressful.
Yeah.
I can't. So I left. And I think he hated me ever since. He ended up being my music tech teacher for sixth form, which wasn't ideal. But
it's just is one of those things.
yeah, I think there's mostly positives, but there are these things like
Time and money pressure.
time, money, mental health, school resources.
Yeah.
Facilities, like this is quite interesting. I mean, it's kind of obvious, but when a state school becomes budget pressured, the first thing it cuts is all the extracurricular stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas the independent schools actively market
that
aspect.
That is a bit of a shame, isn't it?
Yes.
And it's kind of funny because actually a lot of this extracurricular stuff is really good for the UK economy. Like things like art and sports and like they're things that we're good at. I'd say like the UK has a big like I'd say on the music front in terms of drama and television and that sort of thing, or music production. Like I actually think the that's a real strength of ours, and yet
True.
Maybe not enough funding's going towards that. So you're actually hampering the growth of the UK economy by cutting those.
Yeah. It always upsets me how people that go into music and stuff like that don't get paid as much as someone that sits on a spreadsheet and types in numbers. And
yeah, well, I guess it depends how successful that person is. Like, but then success doesn't always boil down to, there's a lot involved in terms of becoming a successul, say, musician.
Of course.
It's so much about like
a lot of it luck.
Opportunity.
A lot of it's luck. And you need to know a lot of other stuff to be able to
finding the producer. Like that was traditionally the model, wasn't it? So you have to have that producer.
Oh, see, yeah.
And thus we see all the problems that we're seeing now that are emerging.
Well, it's one of those things when it becomes available to the masses, like how cameras are now available in our pockets, things change.
Yeah.
If everyone's doing it, then there's more competition. So scarcity creates value. So all of these things that are now available, they've all trickled down. Computers and processors and even instruments and stuff can now be distilled into this.
But obviously that means that people who are really, really good and take time to learn those skills, their skills slowly won't matter as much and
become less valuable. Yeah.
So it's not necessarily a good thing.
No, I'm saying it's not.
Yeah.
But then, I wouldn't know how to produce music too much without having a computer or whatever. So
yeah. Well, a higher barrier to entry creates a market that can be is easier to exploit for those with those relevant skills.
Yeah. So like we were saying, people don't have to go and find a producer and stuff nowadays. They just they can learn it themselves. But it's the thing where it sort of swings back where if everyone is now making music on laptops and whatever else, the people that go and record real instruments get better, more interesting results.
But that's why I think gigs have become more of a thing now. So it's cycled.
It's always cycled back.
Cycled back because I think that was a big thing in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and then it sort of faded away, and then it was about finding the best producer things, and then it's come.
Kind of. I don't think gigs have gone away though.
Yeah, but people use the music to reach people to come to their gigs more than as main sources of income.
No. Completely the other way around. People make absolutely nothing from streams. I think
Yeah, that's what I said.
So
Like as in people use streams to reach the.
I thought you were saying they use the
reach-
gigs to reach people. No, they use the streams to reach people.
Yeah.
And YouTube, and you get videos and whatever else, but the actual money comes from touring.
And selling merchandise and that sort of.
Yeah, I think on Spotify it's like 0.003 pence per stream,
Like Taylor Swift.
and I think Apple Music pays a lot more. I think it's like 0.03 or something. I don't quote me on that, but I know it's a lot more.
Hmm.
But I do think the Spotify one is 0.003. SEND pupils.
Yeah.
They are.
I think they're SEN now though.
Are they?
Yeah.
It's changed again.
SEN.
Look at SEND.
I can't remember.
It used to be SEN.
Yeah.
They are 23% less likely to join a school sport. Also, bullied pupils and girls in certain sports are underrepresented, which we know. But I think that's not so much down to underrepresentation because of gender. I think it's to do with what they're interested in. Most girls don't want to play football,
Yeah, but also
but then it kind of hinders those that do, I guess. So
in certain circumstances, being SEND might make it harder to access, say, a regular sports team, because
it depends on the thing. It depends on what they have. Yeah.
So they need specific. They need a specific team that's made for them. Otherwise, it.
Yeah, which you probably wouldn't get in school because it's not the majority, is it?
Yeah.
It would be something where you'd go.
You have to seek it out yourself.
Yeah.
And that means that you need maybe a lot of community-run charities and that sort of thing to actually cater for that. So there definitely is a problem there.
Yeah, I think overall the benefits outweigh the negatives.
There was quite a lot of negatives there, but yeah, I'd say the benefits of just the social benefits, the leadership skills.
That's what I think is the most important. I don't think it's so much that, there's a 9% jump in those that go to university or those that are in employment. I think there's plenty of people that are from independent schools and not from independent schools that struggle with employment and whatever else. So like 5% here, 9% there. Yeah, they're figures. But I think the most important thing, I mean, from my own experience, is expanding your horizons, meeting new people, and learning new things and enjoying them.
One thing that I think a bit of a weird, like, it's probably a unique point. If you have loads of structured activities, then you might not spend enough time devoted to unstructured, just
play.
Yeah, just not being. If everything needs to be structured for you, then
you'll struggle with.
I feel like that's definitely a thing with me. Like,
yeah, I think especially doing what we do, we have to structure things ourselves.
I struggle with that.
Yeah, I do as well.
It's like, being in the army. You just sort of get used. Like, it literally felt like that sometimes because it was just like, okay, we're doing this. I have my routine.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you break that routine, it's like really hard because you've got to adapt to managing your own time in your own way.
Well, this is why I've tried to put structures in place for what we do. Like Monday's a marketing day. Tuesday we're recording. Wednesday we're working on numbers. Thursday we're editing and doing website. Like I try and structure it in that way. I think the best way is to have an overall structure with a little bit of flexibility.
But you definitely need some free imaginative time.
That's also built in as well.
Like I remember, I think one big thing that I noticed between primary school and secondary school is how little I did so much reading at primary school, and it just fell off a cliff at secondary school. And I honestly think that's a time thing. Like, because I had no time. I didn't have time to read for enjoyment.
Mm.
And that was a great unstructured thing that I would just do independently. And I couldn't do it. I just didn't have the energy or time.
I found that nowadays, like the hobbies and stuff I used to have just fallen off over the last 5 years. I just don't do them anymore.
Yeah. So gaming or something like that, I wouldn't.
I
don't think
game,
I'd
but-
probably, I wouldn't have time to game. Anyway, but reading is something that I did a lot of. Just didn't do it at secondary school. I didn't have time. Like even to send myself to sleep, I used to read, and you just don't have the energy, it's like mentally, so to do it.
That's what I'm finding at the moment is that just energy and motivation kind of fall off. If you overwork, it's burnout.
Yeah.
But for me, it's not really going through cycles. It's just a consistent burnout.
Yeah, true. And now I like I said at say holiday time, I think I struggle to turn off, like thinking everything like that, like, and it's because since say year 7, I've just been on a constant just train of work, like one thing, here's a task, here's an activity, task, activity, it's kind of overstimulation the whole time, so I need to be constantly.
That's why breaks are important. So why holidays are important.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but then it's no good if you can't switch off, like on holiday. Like,
but the holiday is there for you to switch off. Yeah, it takes me probably a couple of days. And I'm still checking cameras and emails and whatever else. But yeah, that's important. We mentioned when you went to South Korea, and I think most of the things that we've spoken about can be relevant worldwide, apart from the more stuff in the southeast and whatever else. But there are some differences between different countries when it comes to extracurricular activities. So would you like to hear some?
Yeah.
So I mentioned earlier that some countries actually have initiatives for this sort of thing. And Finland has a national hobby guarantee, which funds a free club in school time. And early data show that 19% of lower secondary pupils still lack a hobby.
Finland also take the pressure off the academia. I think that's so they're pretty much renowned for their teaching system. Right? It's pretty incredible. They're very, very different from like the say Asians and also the Western world at large. They are pretty much their stuff on education is basically followed by most teachers around the world.
Is that just Finland or is that Scandinavia in general?
Finland is particularly well known for having a pretty amazing education system, but yeah, Scandinavia they do have a lot of social programs. They're very, very socialist.
Well, they fund one free club per child.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
You can't really say more than that. They're just brilliant in that regard. They're not able to fund it simply because they've got a very, very big state sector, and they have, like natural resources. I think they've got a sovereign wealth fund, and basically they're able to pay for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the UK should have. I think we've got probably similar schemes though. Nothing like that, but
not like that. No. Well, the UK. what have we got? About 75% of state school sector pupils do one or more activities,
It's pretty good.
which is pretty good, yeah. United States, we've got about 80% of children between the ages of 5 and 17 in some sort of activity, and 57% girls and 44% boys in organised lessons or clubs overall.
Yeah, I think the US, there's also a big university drive towards it.
Yeah,
So doing some sort of activity. So, because they get, I think the universities place a bigger, I might be wrong about this, but I think they place more weight on it.
yeah. Well,
And they have more scholarships available as well for that sort of stuff, which is why they're so good at, certain sports. Not all of them, but certain ones they're very, very good at. It's just the money involved and the scholarships.
yeah. Well, that's literally, yeah. Colleges value well-rounded applicants,
Yeah.
driving high participation.
Yeah. But then,
Yeah.
they also discriminate against some applicants because they say you don't have the, I don't know, was it mental? It's like personality traits or something like that. Like that's how they discriminate against like Chinese people, Asian Americans. It's a bit big, yeah. Like those like Ivy League universities, like Asian Americans have to do way better, and otherwise all the universities would just be filled with Asian Americans because they just get higher scores across the board, and they're very involved in extracurricular activities. There is a causation problem with all of this.
Yeah, there is with everything. I think even with our last episode, there was a causation issue.
I think this plays into sort of the as someone who has I have an Asian mom, so I think this plays on her mind a little bit when she's making or she made these sorts of choices. She knows that, all right, so she'll have a friend who's also Chinese, and she'll say, oh, my boy is doing this and this and this and this, and then he's doing this well in school, and there's this sort of thing in their minds that just says, oh,
Yeah,
maybe that's why they're so good
doing
at
well.
this,
Yeah,
or whatever. There is some suggestion that certain types of music can improve your IQ. So I think it's Mozart and free jazz that has the highest. Well, it's basically associated with higher brain activity in people in their first stages of development and prenatally.
specifically those two, not like Bach or because I'm into all this like looking into different frequencies and energies and whatever else. Like 432 hertz and like 528 healing frequencies and stuff. Apparently, I think it's Bach was really, really on it with this sort of stuff, and all of his music takes all that into consideration, all the different frequencies and
It's
tuning and.
I think that there is there might be something to it in terms of the frequencies, but there's also with those specific types of music, because they're very complicated.
Very intricate, yeah.
Yeah, and it's the intricacy. Like if you put on some 90s pop or something like that, I don't think you'll see the same effect, and it wouldn't matter what frequency it's been played at. It's more.
I can tell you it was the wrong frequency, but yeah.
It's also just not complex enough to have that impact on the mind. So there is things like that, but it's very, again, with all of these things, it requires, like, if you really want to carry out a test, you need to do it in sort of lab conditions.
Yeah, we're never going to get that level of detail, or statistics.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was that whole study, wasn't there, about playing classical music to plants versus rock music.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's loads of things we don't know about the brain, and
I don't think it's just about the brain. I think it's about frequencies, because there's a whole thing about like water molecules. If you say negative things to water molecules, and you zoom in on them, they fall apart and their patterns break down. Whereas if you say gratitude, positive things to water or food or whatever it is, you can literally see them. You can literally see the molecules forming like perfect hexagons and perfect geometrical patterns. And I think that's similar in the cases of like classical music versus rock music or 90s pop or whatever. The frequencies and the energies behind it change. It's not just about the brain, it's about the energies and frequencies. I think that's like Tesla knew about all this sort of stuff.
I think because I think we were talking about this briefly, even just creating music. I really think like music was a massive source of expression for me, emotionally. So I don't know if I was as good at expressing my emotions verbally.
Yep.
And I think I could communicate it quite well through music. And I think
It's
for
an
a lot
outlet,
of,
isn't it? An outlet.
for a lot of kids and students participate in these activities. It's like you know how we said, I think Tom, like one of our friends, he wasn't really speaking until he was older, and then yet he's in drama and stuff like that.
I find this very, very strange because I was in primary school with Papa.
Yeah.
Hesidu. And when we all first joined, I think we joined in year 3. I think, we joined in year 3. He couldn't speak.
Yeah.
Like he'd open his mouth and like small sounds would come out. Teacher would ask his name and you just hear like a small like squeak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now he's in Hollywood and in the new Harry Potter and doing that Christmas film with like Melissa McCarthy and acting and is doing incredibly well. It's very weird how people that go into these roles start off like that.
But I guess it makes sense. It's like it's kind of its own fantasy life, and having that
hero's journey,
safe space to explore your levels of expression and range of emotion. I think that's why extracurriculars are important. I never thought I was. I think squash, for instance, I started doing that in primary school.
Yeah,
that was like a massive source of confidence for me, because up to that point, I don't think I was like willing to do. I just didn't want to do stuff. I didn't want to do other activities, and it kind of unlocked, because I kind of had to. I was like, okay, I'm doing this now. I might as well do it.
Yeah,
and then that sort of unlocked my sporting prowess. I was in loads of teams because I had the confidence now to go, okay, I can just do this. I'm physically capable of doing something. And with music as well, that was also important, because I don't think I was maybe the most expressive emotionally, and still probably aren't. But I think music, I get the emotions in music and in art.
Yeah.
And
no, I can
express
agree.
it really well on paper as well. So like these these extracurricular things are actually like how I express myself. It's harder in everyday life.
Yeah, there's certain pieces I remember learning on the violin that had a lot of like anger and energy to them, and some that were really soft and
romantic as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We were talking about different countries. The last one
Finland.
and the most
Just that.
No, not Finland. We've done Finland. This is one of the more interesting ones in terms of all these stats is Japan.
So is in like 92% of children are in.
Yeah, 92% of junior high students are in daily club. I've not heard this phrase before. Bukatsu culture.
I imagine it's somewhat similar to the Korea situation.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
there must, like, I'm not gonna, like, it sounds really good, but
I just,
having worked in Korea, I
yeah.
think the amount of social pressure to do it is the unhealthy part.
Well, I don't think it's that different to what you did or what we did.
No.
92% of junior high and 81% of high school students join one Bukatsu club that meets most days, or one club that meets most days, okay, which could include sports, brass bands are quite popular, and it's 5 to 6 days a week, and it's quite intense. But I think that sounds like it's one club, 5 to 6 days a week, whereas what we did was several clubs and bands that cover 5 to 6 days a week.
They have really cool ones though, like abacus. Like using the abacus kids.
No.
It's freaky. Like they can do like they can use mental abaci to like do some insane sums.
Mental, as in like they're not actually using.
Yeah, they just go like that, and you see them do that, like, you know, and they can do it without.
Japan's just crazy.
Yeah, but like I said, although there is an advantage to that in that they're not spread thin. So if they've got like one focus, that's very good. Then they can get to a very high level in that one thing. I always kind of think that was a disadvantage with mine because I feel like
Flipping between different things.
Yeah.
When you do want some like physical
Variety.
exercises, you want some mental, some expressive, like I kind of get why we had different ones, but
do you think there's any rule? Is there too many?
I think too many is when you don't have enough time to reflect and rest. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think I reached that point. Like,
If you're not able to sleep more than like 7 hours and you don't have time to switch off a little bit, like coming home at 9 o'clock at night, doing homework, having dinner, going to bed, waking up again at 6, it's unsustainable. I think that's too much.
but I think I did manage to do it. I don't know how.
Were you happy doing that?
In a way, like there's a comfort in routine that is hard to, and you get better at managing it.
Yeah, but rest. There's no rest.
Yeah,
I think people underestimate how important rest actually is. You know, like 8 hours a day is 8 hours sleep. People say is the norm, and a lot of people don't get that.
Mm-hmm.
It takes 7 to 8 hours for your brain to cleanse.
Yeah,
Like scientifically, it takes 7 to 8 hours for your brain to cleanse.
I
wake up without an alarm, bang on 7.5 or 8 hours. Like last night, fall asleep, wake up without an alarm, and my app said 7 hours, 57 minutes.
Yeah.
And I literally wake up when my brain just decides, all right, I'm just ready to, I've cleansed enough. It's when your body repairs itself. You know, there's all these stats about people that get less than 6 hours sleep gain weight and increased risk of this and that. And I think in your growing stages as a child, that's not healthy.
Yeah, I think there were some times at say 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning when I was like doing homework that I did kind of think to myself, all right, this is just too much. Like, but you know, you get through it.
You know, if it ever got to that point, I just, it's not worth it.
But then
I go to bed. It's not worth it.
But then they just give you like, they just make you stay after, like them put you in detention, don't they?
No.
Yeah,
I don't get put in detention.
you can. There were some kids that were like permanently in detention because
Yeah, but that wasn't just for homework. I mean, if it got to that point, where it was 1 o'clock in the morning, I'd be like, no, I'm going to bed.
I don't know. I just made sure I never missed things. Although I did occasionally do the wrong homework.
Yeah, I can imagine you writing down the wrong page numbers or
not
even writing it down and trying to remember it. And
but yeah, I don't know. I feel like kids don't need to handle that much these days, like compared to in terms of workload. I think it's not.
I think it depends on the kid, depends on the parent, depends on your location. because there are plenty of kids, like even the ones that we know that come to us, that do not have a single evening free.
Yeah, it's not too bad though. Like most of them have less homework than we got. I think it's manageable. It's just
I don't know. I mean, we did get a lot, but we're going to close with a final question. And that question, I'm going to try not misquote it like the opening one. How do we make sure that every child gets a club that they love?
I think you can observe your child at a young age, because you can sometimes see what they want to do in sort of like their micro behaviors and how
Or they lean more towards their
Yeah.
interests and things.
I think, for instance, now looking back, because I'm quite into dance, right? I dance a fair bit now, and now looking back, I did actually really enjoy dancing.
Well, what do you mean by
And
looking
music.
back? When did you?
Like even when I was like as a young child, like when there was music, I'd be off dancing, and yeah, I never harnessed that. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's because boys aren't really, I'd say, encouraged.
To express
Yeah.
themselves in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. My natural instinct is not to go off dancing, is to like tap
Beat,
out.
tap,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I can hear a piece of music and I can hear every single stem. So a stem is like an individual track. I can hear just the kick drum. I can solo different things. That's the bass line. That's the hi-hats. When it comes all together, I can pick out. I've done this before with people that do music production and in music and whatever else. I can pick out things that most people can't even hear, but it's in the track, and I can solo it in my head.
Yeah. You can produce the track and I can do the dance on the track.
I
Yeah,
feel like I've not harnessed that enough.
even things like, I remember when I was taken, like Bring Your Child to Work Day or whatever. I don't know whether that
We
was.
never had that. I think you just went to work.
Yeah, as in I was like, my dad would take me to like Docklands or whatever, and
What was
just
it
do
working?
like basically insurance,
Right.
and he'd say finance, and he was and I'd be on the computer. He'd just put me in front of a computer, and then I'd like write out stories, even when I was young, and they would be like intricate. There'd be like plots and stuff like that. So you can kind of tell what your child is interested in,
Yeah.
if you observe them enough, and then you just encourage them down those routes. And I think with writing, I wasn't really encouraged, like, so. But then as I went to like university, I started doing things like writing societies and stuff, like things I wouldn't have done in school. So if you haven't had the chance to experience that in primary school and secondary school, you can maybe experience those sort of things in university. But I wish that I'd harnessed some of that earlier on, but I didn't. I think it's hard to work out exactly, because so much of it isn't child directed, it's parent directed.
Yeah. I think for me it was very clear that music was. I just had this awakening moment when I heard that kid play the violin in year 2. Something like awoke. But I don't think I've used that enough. I think I got bored. Not bored. It wasn't enjoyable towards the second half of my school life, because there was just so much focus on, this is the theory, you've got to get this grade, you've got to pass this exam, you've got to learn this piece. I was like, well, not really why I wanted to do it. I wanted to experiment and have fun. And I got to do that outside of school. When I got to university, I started DJing and doing other things. And then producing music after university just for fun. And I do miss those quite a lot.
Yeah. Also, I think parents have, it can be a parent ego thing. So
Yeah, maybe. I don't think my one was, but
sometimes sometimes a parent wishes that they were better at something, and that they don't want their child to, so they force it on their child. I think That's sometimes the case with Asian parents because they don't have maybe they didn't have the opportunity to do something, and then they
Yeah.
force their child down a route. But I wouldn't really change that much about
Yeah, I think the good thing
my
is that,
childhood.
yeah, same. I think the good thing is I wasn't forced to do it.
Yeah.
It was, I actually asked
Yeah.
and said, can I do this?
Mm.
They didn't even tell me I was doing it. The violin teacher of the school just walked into the classroom in year 3. Everyone thought I was in trouble. And she was like, come with me. Like, what's going on? So then she took me to the music school and she's like, you're having your first lesson of... Parents didn't even tell me.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So it was something that I asked for, and fortunately enough, I was able to do it.
Yeah. Sometimes the child won't know to ask necessarily, but a parent should always watch their child and quite carefully observe what they're into, what they might be into, and then I think it becomes obvious. Right. And a lot of the time it's really, really obvious if they like football, for instance, because it's just like, okay, it's on television,
Yeah.
they're loving it. Maybe we should play some football.
Yeah,
And-
see, stuff like that is very easy to get into.
Yeah. But then, I don't know,
Writing, drawing, art.
interpretive dance and that sort of thing, like who knows? Like,
No, the kid will be dancing around the house, you
Yeah.
know.
yeah, true.
Stuff like that is easy to get into. It's more when you have to pay for kits and instruments.
But like, for instance, squash, like you wouldn't necessarily know.
No, some of it you have to be exposed to.
You have to take your child to various things, see if they love it, and if they love it, then that's their thing.
So thank you again for joining us this month. Hopefully you found that conversation interesting. Don't forget to leave any comments down below to see what you think on this topic. If you are watching us on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. The buttons are just down there. And if you are following us on Apple or Spotify, give us a follow and a rating, and we'll see you back again next month.
The Education Lounge Podcast.